my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I have another book talk video to share with you guys. And today I'm going to be talking about a number of books that changed me, changed my life, changed the way I thought about things, really climbed under my skin and stayed there for many, many years. So what I've tried to do, and I think I have for the most part, is talk about them in the order that they came into my life, and just share which ones they are and why. And I'd love in the comments down below if you shared with me a book that really changed your life. And if I haven't read it, I'll give it a read. So let's just get on into it. The first book is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This book is so special to me. It's the kind of book that even now, as a 37-year-old woman, sitting here talking about it, it makes me want to cry. This book might be one of the books that ignited my love of reading that very obviously still exists today. It was a story that completely took me by surprise, and its sweetness, its humor, its beauty, its messages of what a family is and what family means was something that affected me from a very early age onward. When I was little, I used to love reading this book over and over again. And I used to also love to watch the show that used to come on CBC, Road to Avonlea. That show and this book were such a powerful combination, a force in my young life. I used to often imagine that I lived in PEI, which I lived very close to. I must say I lived in Newfoundland, which is very close to PEI, but I'd imagine I lived on PEI and was friends with all of them. I wanted to just be amongst all of them, and I used to put on my fanciest dress when I was little and run around my grandparents' garden, just pretending and enriched entirely in imagination. And I'm so thankful for that, and I'm so thankful for this story and for the show Road to Avonlea for such beautiful, wonderful memories and moments. When I was an adult, and my daughter, who's now 14, when she was about 4, so about 10 years ago, her and my mom and my sister and I, we took a trip. We were living in Ontario at the time, and we drove out to PEI. And we went to the Green Gables house, and we went to Avonlea, and we did it all, and I felt like I was a child again. And that's actually was on that trip that I picked up this volume of the book. I've got a few different ones, but I picked this one up, and as we were driving home, I read it out loud to my mom and my sister and my daughter, and it was just such a fun road trip that I'll never forget it, and that just kind of added to the Anne of Green Gables mythology portion of my life. Next, I don't have a copy of it to show you because I was so scared of it when I finished it that I threw it in the garbage. And that book is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I read it when I was a young teenager. It was my first Stephen King book I had ever read. Up until then, the only scary books I had read were like R.L. Stine book or Christopher Pike books, and I took the jump over to Stephen King and read Pet Sematary. I was probably 13 or 14, and I was absolutely terrified. I was so scared. I didn't know if I would be able to finish it, and when I finally did, I didn't want it anywhere near me any longer, and like I said, I threw it out. Now this year, of course, we've got the remake of Pet Sematary, the movie, coming out. Once it does, I'm sure that copies of Pet Sematary will be everywhere like copies of It were when that film came out a couple years ago. So I think I'm ready to repurchase it and bring it back into my life. But yeah, at the time, I wasn't having it. That's just so funny to think back on. But that really affected me. For one, it scared the crap out of me. But for two, it really broadened my scary story horizon. There's something so fun about reading something scary and being so scared in a very controlled way. I wouldn't want to actually be scared of something actually in my life, but in a controlled manner, like a book or a movie, there's just something so fun about it because, you know, there's no actual danger. So, but yeah, Pet Sematary, that was the first one that really sparked my love. Next up, this book was a Christmas gift when I was around 18 or 19 years old. It was a gift from my aunt, Carolyn, and this is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and I love this book. There's no other way to say it. I love it. The book goes through various topics of life, relationships, love, friendship, everything you can possibly think of, and it's written very shortly with each kind of subject given its own chapter, and as it moves from topic to topic, it's written in such a way that it's a man sharing his thoughts with a group of people, and as each topic is brought up, it's brought up by one of the people listening. So they'll say, but what of children, but what of love? And then he shares with them his thoughts. And this is really the kind of book that opened my eyes to new ways of thinking things or understanding things. It's not that it's full of new information, it's just kind of filled with the words for the things we already know and feel. I'll give you an example. This is from the section on children. So in speaking about children, he says, "You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you." And it's a really beautiful book. I know that as time has gone on, Khalil has kind of been shown to be maybe not the best person in life, but to me, I think that book holds up because just because someone is not the person that you want them to be, it doesn't necessarily mean that their work and everything like that has no merit any longer, because I think that all of these thoughts and feelings so beautifully put down so very long ago, they hold truth in them, and it really hit me. It hit me hard the first time I read it, and I've reread it a few times since then, and every time I uncover something new to love about it. The final one is kind of a pair of authors that I discovered around the same time. One is Anais Nin, and the other is Henry Miller, and the two of them really hit me at a time when I discovered them probably when I was in my early 20s, like 20, 21. Discovering Anais was absolutely insane. She was such a raw, brilliant, passionate woman with so many problems and just so tormented. And then Henry Miller was just kind of this insane energy that found her, and together they had quite some experiences. I loved reading Anais's journals. They were published and they were amazing. Her books are amazing. So I discovered her first, and I was very taken with her, and I was very just amazed that a woman could write like this back then, especially. Like in this day and age, it's not so amazing, but back then it was wild to me. And I thought she was so brave and so beautiful and so wild, and all of the things that can sometimes be really appealing when you're, 19, 20, 21 years old. And as someone who has wanted to write since I literally can remember, reading her work gave me such courage and such inspiration, and it made me feel like, because even today I struggle with wanting to write something and then thinking, no, I shouldn't write that, that's not. So the authors and the writers that do it, that write the things, the painful, the out there, the on edge things, inspire me to push through the fear and do it too. And she was my number one inspiration for that. And then, like I said, I learned of Henry Miller at that same time. And then I read Tropic of Cancer that he had written, and then Tropic of Capricorn as well. I've got this amazing old edition of Tropic of Capricorn that I absolutely love. It's so old and tattered, and I just love it, and I love to hold it, and I love the feel of it. I love everything about it. Another book that I love that kind of is of the both of them is called Illiterate Passion, and it's the publication of the love letters that they exchanged over the years, and it's just amazing to read. I love it. If you have a chance to read it, that's what I would suggest reading, the Illiterate Passion. Read about the ways they felt about each other and the ways they felt about that time. So yeah, for Anais Nin and Henry Miller, what they gave me was courage to write the things that I was afraid to write about, and that's holding true in the book that I'm finishing up. And without them, I don't know that I would be where I am as a writer now. So there you go. Those are some books that have affected me, changed me, gotten under my skin. Have you read any of these? If so, what did you think of them? Did you love them? Did they not really have the same effect on you? Isn't it so interesting how different things affect people differently? I always find that so fascinating. So yeah, let me know what books you loved and have changed you, and I will see you guys on Monday. I'm going to have a vlog for you on Monday because I'm going out of town for the rest of the week and the weekend, and yeah, so that should be fun. Anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.